Hello, I'm Keith with the Schmidt Music Trombone Shop, back with another mouthpiece review for you. And today I've got some mouthpieces I've been trying to review for quite a long time here. I won't get into all the technical issues I've had in getting this video done, but we've got it done here specifically about the Laskey Classic tenor trombone mouthpieces. We've talked about the Laskey mouthpieces before on the channel, and of course we'll review some of that information in a little bit. But while the first mouthpieces they brought up were the Lasy signature pieces, these are the original Scott Laskey classic design here. So today I'm going to be reviewing 3 of their 57 mouthpieces, specifically the 57 MD, D, and E. I'm going to, of course, play these, talk about the experience afterwards. I'm going to be playing all 3 of these on an S.E. Shires TBQ 30YR tenor trombone. As I mentioned, this is a video I've been trying to get done for quite a while here. Now, of course, Lasky has been fantastic to work with. I've had some conversations, many conversations with them, all of the work that they're doing here. It was just a technical nightmare on our end. This was really kind of one of those little MacGuffins. It was always sitting out there. I'm trying to get it done, never can get done. But we're here talking about these. I've done a previous video talking about the Lasy signature series. So within the trombone mouthpieces, these were the Lasys, were the first ones that Lasky really kind of brought to the table. Makes sense given that at that time their relatively new relationship with Joe Lasky. But of course, part of the idea with Lasky is they've been trying to go through and really recreate the original Scott Laskey designs. Just as a quick primer, kind of reminder here, Scott Laskey was a custom mouthpiece maker in the Chicago area, originally worked with Schilke, then started his own custom mouthpieces. And really for a lot of folks across all brass, especially horn, tuba, and certainly a lot of trombone players, very well-known mouthpieces, really well-respected maker, unfortunately passed away. And Eastman, through Backun, was able to step in and purchase a company, work with the family to purchase the company. They were hand-selected by the Laskey family to really continue Scott's legacy. And to that end, they have worked and are continuing to work really, really hard at trying to continue on replicate as best possible what they have done, what Scott did in all of his designs and everything. We've talked about some of this before. They've gone to the point there when Scott went through and did all of his designing, he didn't have just one CNC file, one machining file for any one of these mouthpieces. He had a lot of times dozens of different designs. And so Lasky went through and tried to find the best possible examples of every one of these sizes out in the wild, talking to players, professionals, educators, trying to find the best playing examples of these and then comparing them to all of Scott's original designs to figure out, okay, which one was actually the one that Scott was using here, and doing so much of that work, even to the point where they're using the same foundry for their brass that Scott was using. And again, in an effort to really bring everything that Scott was creating kind of to full bear. And so the classic mouthpieces, they currently have available in 3 different sizes, the 54, 57, and 59. Now remember, with the Lasky mouthpieces, I actually really like their numbering system. This is all based off of the diameter of the cup width in millimeters. So the 54 is going to be a 25.4, which is going to be more or less like a 6.5 AL comparison. The 57 is 25.7, just a touch larger than a 5, somewhere in the 4.5-ish range. And then the 59, of course, is going to be a 25.9, just about a 4G give or take. And then, of course, we have some different cup depths. So what I've found, and certainly we've had these mouthpieces in the shop enough that we've gotten a lot of really great feedback on them. What I found with these mouthpieces is that, first off, they've got a lot, a good amount of the same color and response that I liked and a lot of people have liked with the Lasy signature pieces. One of the things I noticed right off the bat is that the blank on these is a little bit lighter than the Lasys. And I think that's of course very, very intentional. With the Lasy design, they wanted, I suspect, they wanted a little bit more mass and stability, a little bit heavier blank, a little bit heavier outside is going to help you give that. And these are a little bit lighter in comparison. So I feel like there's a little bit different, maybe a lightness in sound. There's a little bit different color and shimmer to it. I feel like there's a little bit different flexibility with them. And I think what really people appreciate, and of course they've kept the rim width the same, not just the rim width, but the rim contour. It's a little bit flatter contour, which, as I've talked about before, seems to be a little bit of a trend that we are starting to see right now from a lot of custom makers, getting away from even a little bit more kind of a box style, kind of semi-curved rim, and going to a little bit flatter. And what that does for us gives us a little bit different stability. So I think they're very, very comfortable rims overall. What I found with these is that, again, they have a lot of color, a lot of shimmer. My first experience with the 57, so again, the smallest they have in the large shank design is the 57. that's frankly just a touch too big for me, you know. And I could feel, even as I was going through and comparing before the video with my 5G, that 25.5 millimeter, that's really kind of, in an ideal situation, that's like my preferred large bore tenor size. It just works best for me. I can feel with all of these, they're just a little bit bigger, and that causes again a little bit different, stability, control, etc. But putting that aside, what I found is obviously the cup depth made a huge difference. The medium deep cup, the MD cup, at first I liked a little bit of the compression. I felt like it had some nice compression to the sound, but I found very quickly I was really kind of pushing against it. What that was doing, that was causing some issues, in particular with articulation. I felt like I was not able to use the same type of diction front to the articulation with the MD, because I was getting, again, just a little bit too much compression with it. I felt like in the upper register, I was really having to squeeze down a little bit more with it. On the opposite end, with the E cup, which I threw the E cup in, it is really technically designed more as a euphonium mouthpiece. It's a very deep cup in comparison. And what we get with it is the experience we're going to get with a very deep cup on trombone, which is that it's got a lot of depth to the sound. It was very open blowing. I felt like overall, I liked the blow in the upper register till I got kind of towards the end, till we started really getting up into, the ninth partial and above. There, I felt like the deeper cup, I wasn't giving me quite enough feedback with all of it. And again, I felt like the articulation worked a little bit mushy. Now, again, this is just, it's one player's preference. So for me, kind of the sweet spot was the D cup. With that, I felt like it gave me definitely more depth of sound than the medium deep cup. I felt like it was the cleanest, most responsive overall in terms of articulation, in terms of just stability of the sound. By far the easiest upper range access while still having control in the lower range. So again, a lot of this stuff, and this is where mouthpiece reviews get kind of difficult because every player's approach is different. And for me, it all starts with that mouthpiece, this interface here. But, overall the response on the Laskeys has been, again, very, very, very positive, whether we're talking about the Lasys or the classics here. What I tend to find is for people who want to have a little bit more core and get centering, a little bit more heaviness, the Lasys are really great for that. For somebody who wants something where maybe that's just a little bit too much work to push around, like they're just not getting quite the resonance out of it, they're not getting quite the immediacy to the sound, the classics, I think, really, really provide a lot of that. And they have like we see with a lot of other custom mouthpieces, there's some real complexity happening with this within the timbre, the overtone, frequency distribution. There's a lot of stuff happening within all of that. I feel like I'm really able to, open up through all these mouthpieces. I'm really able to open up using again, kind of my air approach. They respond to that. They give me a really, really great experience with that. And they're working efficiently and giving me a lot of color options, a lot of options within the air energy that I'm putting into them. So hope you had a chance to finally enjoy my review here of the Lasky Classic mouthpieces. If you've had a chance to play these mouthpieces, or maybe you've had a chance to play the small shank, the 54, or their bass trombone mouthpieces, or the Lasys, obviously we'd love to have you share that experience. If you liked this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to our channel so that way you can be a part of our community and hear about more videos as we have coming out. And then, of course, you can find the Trombone Shop on Facebook and Instagram. As always, thanks for watching.